I've been really enjoying the always on display feature on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and today I'm going to share everything that you need to know about it. But before I get into it, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Set app is an incredible cross-platform suite which gives you access to over 200 iOS and macOS applications without any additional cost. You only need to pay for your subscription and choose the apps that you would like to use. Now, a great benefit is that you can start a free trial when you use my affiliate link listed down below in the description. So starting off, what is it? It is basically a dimmed version of your lock screen that still shows the time, the widgets, the date, and your notifications. Right now, I have a focus enabled, so it shows the focus mode that I'm at. And how does it work? The iPhones 14 Pro and Pro Max have the new ProMotion technology that varies from 1 Hz to 120 Hz, which allows the iPhone to have the always-on display technology enabled without using too much power. The display automatically dims when your iPhone is not in use, and it also goes totally dark when the always-on display feature is not needed. So Apple says here that to save battery life, the display is completely dark when your iPhone is lying facing down. So if I put my iPhone like this on the table, the always-on display feature will be disabled. If you put your iPhone in your pocket or bag, if sleep focus is on, if low power mode is on, if your iPhone is connected to CarPlay, the always-on display feature will also be disabled automatically. If you're using the continuity camera, if you haven't used your iPhone for a while, and if your iPhone detects that you moved away from it with a paired Apple Watch. So if you own an Apple Watch, for example, and you leave your iPhone here in the office and you walk to the kitchen, your iPhone will know that you're not around it anymore, and the always-on display will be automatically disabled. So this is great because it saves battery life. Now, if you have the always-on display feature enabled and you want to use your iPhone, you can pretty much do the same thing that you already did without this feature. So you can tap on the display, you can press on the side button, or you can raise to wake if you have that option enabled. I personally do not like to have that option enabled because sometimes I'm just carrying my iPhone somewhere and the screen goes totally bright and I don't need it, so this will actually use more battery life than I need. Now, something that I really enjoy about this always-on display feature is that the brightness varies depending on how bright is the location that you're at. So if you are outside, for example, the always-on display will be a little bit brighter, and if you are inside in a dark room, for example, the always-on display will dim even more, which, again, will save you battery life. But talking about battery life, does this feature impact battery life? And unfortunately, the answer is yes, it does. I haven't conducted a test, but I did watch 2 great ones, and the first one was conducted by Simply Pops. I've linked his video down below in the description. Make sure to watch it as well if you're interested. And he was testing 4 different iPhones: the iPhone 14, the regular one. He was testing an iPhone 14 Pro with a colored wallpaper, then the iPhone 14 Pro with a all black wallpaper, and another iPhone 14 Pro with the always-on display feature disabled. So the iPhone 14 Pro with the colored wallpaper lasted 59 hours on a single charge. The iPhone 14 Pro with the black wallpaper lasted 70 hours on a single charge. And the one with the always-on display disabled still had 70% of battery life left after 70 hours. The second test is from Phone Arena, and he measured the battery consumption during 2 days. One day the phone had the always-on function enabled, and the next day it was turned off. And both days he started the test with 100% battery level, and he conducted the test from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The results were, on the first day, the battery was down from 100% to 94%, and on the second day, with the always-on display disabled, the battery was still at 100%. So yes, it does drain more battery. However, if you like the feature, I would simply use it. So if you want to disable the always on display feature, simply go to settings, press on display and brightness, and disable the always on. So right now you will see that my lock screen is on, but if I press on the side button, the display will be totally off. I will enable it again because I do like the feature, but as you can see, it's pretty easy to do. Now, should you worry about burn-in if you want to use the always-on display? And not really. Apple is said to use pixel shifting that will ever so slightly change the positioning of the elements on the display. You will not notice it, but this will be happening in the background, so it will prevent OLED burn-in issues. Another information that I saw on Mac Rumors is that the widgets will be shown on your lock screen, but they will fade in and out at set intervals. And that will again be unnoticeable for the user, but it will prevent OLED burn-in. If you're not familiar with this term, burn-in is pretty much an image retention, and it's a display issue that results in a ghostly after image that is left on a screen after the same content is shown on the display for long periods of time. For example, if you have the same spreadsheet open on your desktop every single day for hours and hours, that may be bad for it. Also, if you have the same fixed screensaver on your desktop and you use the same one every single day for hours and hours, that is something that can cause burn-in. So again, as I mentioned, you shouldn't worry about this using the always on display feature on your iPhone 14 Pro or Pro Max, but something you could do to be safe is to use different lock screens every other day or every other week to prevent it. And last but not least, just a little bit more info about the always on display feature. Unfortunately, Apple does not allow the users to customize it. So for example, if you want to make it brighter or darker, you don't have that option. You can only enable or disable the feature. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I really like this feature. I love having the option to just glance over my iPhone and check its notifications without having to pick it up, tap on the display, or anything like that. I feel like it's very convenient. My battery life is not the best. If I compare it to my iPhone 13 Pro Max, for example, I feel like it was lasting longer on my previous iPhone, but again, I wasn't using that feature. So I don't mind the battery drain, but if you do, you can always disable it. And this is everything that you need to know about the always-on display feature on the iPhones 14 Pro and Pro Max. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Also, I want to hear from you. Do you like the feature? Are you using it? I would love to know. And if you enjoyed the content, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.